No. I was in a cult before, and I didn't realize I was in a cult. I think I told a lot of you guys about my cult story. I was in a cult. But I did not know that I was in it, which I think is how cults work. So, recap, background on me. I went to University of Maryland, College Park, UMD, and it was a freshman year where people would stand outside offering people jobs or opportunities for people in between during the summer when we weren't in school. And one of the people recommended me to come to this school or this class, and it was about selling books for money. Selling educational books for money. And I was like, oh, shit. I love books and I love making money. Sounds like I'll be helping a lot of people. Why the hell not? You know, and I can, and they structured in a way it's 2 weeks, you know, you'd sell all the books. And no, it's longer than 2 weeks, but you go out there and basically you sell as much as you can. But before you go, I've talked about this in the video again. This is a recap. Before you go, for 2 weeks, you go to what's called sales school. And this is where the brainwashing actually occurs. Okay. So you basically go to something called sales school, but it's brainwashing. Okay. It teaches you how to sell. Now, I'm going to be very clear. It was very effective. Okay. They literally teach you sales and how to use pitches when people say no, how to do a roundabout way to get them to say yes. There's a flow chart. I don't know if you guys know this, but there is a flow chart of when someone says something, you have a direct response ready for it. And then if someone says something here, there is a prompt. Okay. They make us literally online prompts so that wherever it is that you choose to navigate based on your answer, we have a set outline of specific responses that reach us to a certain destination. Okay? I don't know if any of you guys are kind of unaware of this, but it's more intricate than you actually think it is. You might think, oh, if someone says here, then you just go into the door, whatever. No, it's intricate. Pages on pages on pages on pages on pages that guides you through the entirety of what a conversation can look like. Okay? That's how well equipped salespeople are. They are educated in a way to navigate the entirety of the conversation. So even when you think the conversation is getting sidetracked or moving somewhere else, they are exactly in a certain place where they want you to be. That's exactly where they know they guided you here. You're exactly where they want you to be. They're leading you to the sale like a mouse, and they're just guiding you and keeping you within the spectrum. Okay? You just close the door. I'm just letting you know how salespeople's brains work. So they taught us that. They also taught us weird things too as well, because we were based on selling on performance based. So they split us up in teams. They made us competitive. They made us say whoever gets the top sales gets recognitions. Whoever sells the most in a week gets something cool, blah, blah, blah. So you get rewarded. They would motivate you by making you compete against each other to try to get the cool rewards to sell for them. So you become a better seller to perform more, because at the end of the day, if you sold a lot of books, you can make a lot of money. But also, because it's a cult and a bit of a pyramid scheme, you're making your manager a lot of money. Okay. So that's how the system works. And then during those 2 weeks, they teach you things. They start saying things that become a little crazy. They have rules. The rules are like rule number 1, no excuses, play like a champ. Okay. Rule number 2, always wake up 5 a.m. No excuses. No excuses. No excuses. Always wake up. Rule number 3, cold shower 5 minutes. Anything past 5 minutes and you failed. Rule number 4. These are hardcore like mantras that you're supposed to kind of like follow that are very extreme, and they're usually very toxic, but they're all kind of ingrained in you as like, all right, this is how I'm going to operate. It's like programming a little fucking ant, right? Get out there and get them, right? You just program them and just hit them with a bunch of shit that makes you more productive. And it's going to make you crash too as well. Like, you should not be operating like this, but this is what brainwashing works. And it's just boom, 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 train you. This is how sales schools works in general. And a lot of things work, right? They're pumping your brain to make you the most productive worker bee there as possible, essentially. And then you go out there and you lose your mind. So the name of the place was called Southwestern. And I'm curious if it's on Google. Southwestern. It says, I am a very successful Southwestern Advantage rep. Never sell for them. Stay away. Okay. This was 4 years ago. And I didn't even know they were still around 4 years ago. That must mean they made a comeback. I sold multiple summers for Southwestern Advantage and was successful every year. My best summer, I made $20,000, and every year I qualified for their incentive trip. I'm one of their few successful reps. I'm here to say, please do not sell for Southwestern Advantage. I would not recommend it to anyone. If you're not successful, you will have debt to them. That's correct. You can accrue debt. Successful and Southwestern is hitting the incentive trip, aka if you're not in the top percentile, you will have paid money to them to sell door to door for them. So you have to use your own money. You have to use your own money to fund your own sales. They don't just give you it and like, good luck. They put you in debt in case if you don't sell, then you're in debt. You owe them. So there's no free. Most people don't make money doing this program. Many owe money leaving the program. I would say at least 50% of their reps fall in this bucket. So what they're doing is they're literally not even hiring you. They're also setting you up to fail. So there's a if like 70% of you fail, then you're just people who basically became in debt to them. That's fucking crazy. It's genius, but it's fucking crazy, right? Like to be like, oh yeah, here's a program where you have to sell these amount of books. You probably won't fucking do it, and you're going to be in debt to me, and you're going to owe me credit for not doing so. They don't teach you how to invest. They give you items that you are forced to purchase, okay? So imagine they gave you 100 books. You're not just getting 100 books. If you don't sell those 100 books, you have to buy those 100 books. So basically, if you sell the 100 books, you can profit, access your costs of acquiring it. So yes, anyway, if you are first year success making $8,000, that's still less than minimum wage when you factor in the 80-hour work week. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, it's an 80-hour work week. They make you work from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. I think Sunday you're allowed to wake up at 9 a.m. if you reached your quota. You'd be better off networking at a real job where you'll have real coworkers. It costs you about $4,500 to sell for SW. Why did I join them? Because they were very good at making me think this was a very great money opportunity. Everything they said made sense. It made complete freaking sense when they were communicating what this was, because they knew how to mask it and not say the things that were problematic. And a lot of things that they do were problematic were unsaid. They were very toxic. Like they would call you a pussy for not, for wanting to give up. They would use tactics that they were trained to learn to make people want to stay and keep working past their limits. Because it's a pyramid scheme, and by keeping you, if you become one of their people, then it's like having worker bees. Imagine you have 5 worker bees that just do whatever you want them to do. And one of them wasn't, then you would try to figure out how to motivate them and keep them to fuck working. That's essentially how this works. Anyway, that's how they get you. It's pretty crazy. All right, let's get back to it. So it costs you about $4,500 to sell for Southwestern. You're paying for gas to drive cross country twice over. So yes, you have to drive I drove from Maryland. No, Yeah, I drove from Maryland all the way to Ohio because that's the city I was selling from, I believe. No, Illinois. I was selling out of Alton, Illinois. Because I remember specifically because one of the people from Illinois pulled out a gun on me, a shotgun from the window. More on that one later, though. So, plus you're paying for the gas for the 1,000 miles a week you're driving. So you have to pay your way to get to where you need to go. You also got to pay rent. So here's the interesting about paying rent. What they tell you to do is once everyone lands in the city that they're supposed to be, guess how you live. Let me tell you how you live. We were taught this. You walk around door to door, knocking on people's doors and letting them know that you are selling books and that you're looking for a place to stay for a month or two and asking if they have an open spot for you to basically crash. Do you have a place that's open? Do you have a room that we can rent? And you have to pay the rent. So do you still have the books or do you get all of yours off? So the way that it works is you don't come in with the books. You come in trying to sell books that are allocated to you, but the books don't actually, you have one book as an example and you get an order and they're like, I want 5 books. And then at the end of the summer, the 5 books are then sent to them. So you don't walk around with like 1,000, 10,000 books in your fucking hand. Like you can't do that. The book was multiple things. The book was an educational book. It was like an encyclopedia type thing where it teach kids and how to accelerate it was a good book, actually. That was the crazy part. The book itself was very, very effective. It was books for younger kids that they could read that could kind of accelerate, enhance their education. It was kind of like, I don't know how to put it, but they were good reference books and books that could guide kids into learning and with better acceleration. I can't remember the name of the books. It was a bunch of books, though. You remember those books? You might have been sold one of these educational books. There were a lot of them where they would go from like an entire encyclopedia worth, or it would be a bunch of books to kind of accelerate the growth that had nothing to do with your school. Like us tapping into a nostalgic memory. Hold on. What's crazy is because as an adult, I know how this shit is fucked up, but as a kid, I had no idea. And as a college student, I had an idea. And now, like, I'm explaining it to you how it was on the other end, and you're like, oh my God, right? So here's the go. You're paying for food. So when you get there, you pay for your own food. You're paying for your demo bag. It costs a lot to participate in their program. If you're a successful rep making $8,000, once you subtract the cost, your take home is $3,500. Is that worth it? So a college student, they'd be like, yeah, average person makes like $4K. You're in college, money is money. $4K? Yeah, let's freaking do it. It's just $4,000 for the summer, $5,000 for the summer. You're just going in. Your mom might have bought those books too. A lot of you guys probably read the book and you don't even remember. They preach the value of social world network. I can tell you most will quit. And the few of you who are successful, most of them will turn into full-time booksellers. Those who end up successful in life, homeowners, impressive cars, good savings, are the ones who manage to leave Southwestern. Most of my Southwestern alumni friends have continued from 1099 job to 1099 job. There's no great value in their work network. I removed many of them, including former leaders from my LinkedIn connections because they're embarrassing. Now let's get to how messed up the actual job is, okay? Where is it? It is so unsafe. You work 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. They must have changed the hours. For me, you woke up at 5. Oh no, you wake up at 5. Then you take a shower and then you spend like an hour and 2 doing pre-work. And then 8:30 is when you do the moving. And you're supposed to challenge yourself to get extra knocks in before 8:30 a.m. and after 9:30 p.m. Door knockers. I was a door knocker. Oh my God. Oh, I didn't even put that together. That I was a door knocker for some reason. Like as an adult, when you're a kid and you're doing it for the first time, you don't get it. You don't really get that you're the one knocking on people's doors. And now I'm like, oh my God. Oh man, I was a fart knocker. Anyway, you're knocking on strangers' doors well after the sun goes down and all the potential dangers that come along with it. I experienced physical exhaustion like I've never felt before. You're working 80 hours a week, no days off, and no sleeping in. Every summer, reps would crash their cars from falling asleep at the wheel every summer. I crashed my car. But I don't think it was because I was asleep at the wheel. It got foggy and the weather was really bad. And then I missed a stop sign. But I don't, at least maybe I did crash because it was exhaustion and I didn't realize I was exhausted. But oh no. Oh no. I think I just came to another realization. Jesus. Anyway. The truck that ran me off the street, that was something else, but I never crashed. It just got ran off. Emotional manipulation is rampant within social Southwestern. If you do this, the emotional healthy thing, you will not be successful and hit your goals. So they would say, if you take a break, if you rest, if you second guess yourself, if you do anything that's healthy for you, you will not hit your goals. Okay. Reps are told to not attend their family funerals. Reps are told not to attend their family weddings. Reps are told to only knock on doors. Nothing else is allowed. So they basically put you in this place where you are just doing the thing, and all of your life energy and everything around it. Listen, I'm trying to tell you how crazy MLMs this thing is. Okay, they put you in a world. Oh my God, these are how cult. I was in a fucking cult. I haven't understood the gravity of it until I became more self-aware recently. And I've been understanding the gravity of things like more and more. But yeah, I was in a box and closed off from the world. And my hours was only meant, and I didn't have like a cell phone or nothing like that too. Back in that day, I didn't have like a cell phone that had like, apps and shit, like to Facebook media and stuff. So I was closed off from the rest of the world. And I imagine these MLMs nowadays, they probably hide your phone and put it away. Fuck. Yeah, modern day slavery. I'm just now coming to grips with how fucked up that was. For some reason, when I was a kid, I knew that it was bad. And then as I grew up, I was like, yeah, that was really bad. But now I'm in a place where I'm like, holy shit. Have you guys ever thought about some of your traumas? I'm sorry, I don't mean to uncover. You guys ever think about things when you were a kid and you're like, oh, yeah, I used to get a beating. Yeah, I used to get beatings all the time. And then you grew up and you're like, what the fuck? Some random stranger was just fucking just hitting the shit out of me every day. What in the fuck? And it's kind of like, yeah, I'm having one of those type of situations where I'm like, but when you're a kid, it's not that trauma. The thing, you understand what I'm saying? The kid as a trauma, it was normalized. So it doesn't feel, yeah, I'm not even experiencing it now. I'm experiencing it in one way where it's being like, it's just the normal. And then there's that wasn't normal, dude. And then you understand the full gravity of it and how it affected you. Oh my Lord. I'm sorry, guys. I might be getting a little bit, yeah, when you're on the other side of it, that shit's hard. Yeah, I might be a little deep. I'm feeling a little uncomfortable myself. I'm feeling a little, hope you guys are okay, but I feel like I'm doing a little bit of something. Anyway, I think this is because I'm uncovering something and I'm reading this right now, right? And it's making me realize how bad it was by going through it again, because I actually went through this. And now I'm recognizing what I went through was really bad. And I'm also recognizing the full extent of how much it warped my brain. Whereas when I was closer to it, it just felt like a familiar thing. It's like, yeah, it was bad, but blah, 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 blah. And then that's how they do. Like, you can get to a place where something really bad can happen to you. But if you get brainwashed or tricked hard enough, it will feel normal. Like, it will just feel normal. You do not think that you're experiencing trauma. You're like, this is trauma being normalized too. Oh my Jesus. Maybe I don't have the tism. Maybe I was just in a cult. That's how manipulation works. Have you guys ever thought about things that you think are normal that are maybe might not be normal? Like you really have you really questioned your normality? Have you really questioned really questioned it. Because you might have a very strong sense of how things are supposed to be and how you're supposed to live and what you're supposed to do. But some of those things can be based off things that have just been normalized into you. And you might not have had, you know? I would say just question the things that you feel very strongly about. I would, and it might seem off, or if you think about politics, you think about religion, or you think about values, just think about some of the things that you think are just very like, yeah, this is just how this shit works. And then think about, holy crap, this is how this shit works because my parents fucking abused me. So I just assume that I'm supposed to beat my kids because my parents beat the shit out of me. So, and the Bible says it's fine too. So yeah. I want to beat the shit out of my kids. And it's like a normalized concept that this is how things should be done. Because you grew up and your beatings weren't a big deal to you. But then you get older, like, God damn. And some people don't think it's a big deal, but maybe I think it's a big deal. But yeah, people getting normalized to trauma is bad. Somebody might say that beating is just discipline, which it is a form of discipline. But it's a force of discipline created through stress and trauma. And are they effective teaching methods? Yes, they are effective teaching methods. But there's got to be a way to teach kids that don't have to be trauma inducing. Do you know what I mean? Like, that can't be like to be fair, it's a primitive thing. I think animals do this. So it might be human instinct. But like even animals within the Animal Kingdom will, inflict aggression onto like their cubs or they all of it's kind of got it in there. I think what I'm referring to might actually be deeper than what we're going to. I think we're going into trauma and now we're going into human nature. I think that's what we're doing. Anyway, let's continue. I'm kind of yapping here. 2 years, Cal St. Lou. Thank you for the 24 months, homie. I appreciate you. Thanks, love. Missed you. How have you been? Anyway, back to the MLM for those of you guys who wanted to hear. Sorry if you're watching from YouTube. I might have ADHD. Trigger warning SA. This paragraph only. Pause if you need to. Let me just read it for you just to make sure it's not coming crazy. It's not too bad. It's not graphic. There's no R or nothing like that. So this one seems fine. It's not graphic. But yeah, it said, a single dad once offered to pay me my day's commission if I went inside with him and had some fun. I declined. He then trapped me between himself and my car. Thankfully, it was my car, and I was able to get in the car and drive off. The response from leadership, glad you got out of there. Glad it didn't interrupt your activity. 100%. 100%. This is an MLM that I was in. I was in a cult. This is exactly how they would respond. If you had something really bad happen to you, they're like, well, man, but I'm glad you didn't, it didn't stop you from selling books that day, right? Like you kept selling. Yeah, I kept selling. I'm so proud of you. That's how a warrior works, where you can almost die and they're still talking about but you sold those books, right? No empathy, no apologies, hardly even acknowledgement. Essay like this is so rampant because you're talking to 30 strangers a day. So the goal is to knock to 30 people. It's bound to happen, and leadership will never acknowledge it. Because if they acknowledge it, imagine the time you lose knocking on doors to hit your goals. You actually have to admit that the program is dangerous. Every single woman I've asked has had an SA experience while selling from Southwestern. That is crazy. Every single woman I've asked has had an SA experience while selling for SW. That's a crazy sentence. Anyway, if you're still reading this, now let's get to the company and how immorally it runs. Obviously, Southwestern Advantage is a pyramid scheme. You're being recruited as part of a 5 to 10 person team by a student manager. They were recruited by an organizational leader, and the org leader reports to a district sales manager, DSM. Further than that, the DSMs report to the HQ corporate office in Tennessee. Every person is making money off of every book you sell. The profits everyone else is making, the student manager, the org, the DSM, overwhelms what you're making. For every unit, you're making $4, and the conglomeration is probably making $25. It's a pyramid scheme. The only reason it hasn't gone to court like Cutco, Verve, etc. is that Southwestern Advantage has never gotten popular enough. If it were more popular, it would have been shut down forever ago. I don't know if Southwestern Advantage is still around. They weren't even called Southwestern Advantage back when I wasn't working with them. They were just Southwestern. But yes. Some tactics that they use to convince you to stay include using all of your vulnerabilities against you. That is correct. They purposely ask you questions like, what are your fears? What are the things about you that kind of like are sensitive? They ask about things about you, and then they use it. They're trained to use your vulnerabilities against you. Like they're trained to emotionally manipulate you. You will never conquer this trait without selling another summer, quote. They'll go so far to even say you will never be successful without SW. Happy employers don't do that. Cults do that. There's a Facebook group containing over 1,000 alumni called Southwestern Uncensored that was created for alumni to vent about how terrible the program is. Most alumni, just about everyone besides the person recruiting you, will tell you to not do SW. So much for the incredible network it creates when we all mutually acknowledge how terrible SW is. SW exposed me to some of the worst people I'll ever meet in my life. There have been reps who in the school year have murdered other reps. Oh my God. That's not even surprising because the amount of emotional abuse that these people do onto you are in a very short period of time under a lot of stress is astronomical. But the fact that reps are murdering reps based on what they did to them? Most people I know who have been arrested or have DUIs are from my Southwestern days. Please do not sell for Southwestern Advantage. I'm here to tell you there are many ways to become successful. The risks do not outweigh the reward. I would not recommend this program to anyone. Yes. Absolutely terrible experience. And this is still not even like the full extent of it. So for me, my experience was I crashed into a car. I ran a stoplight because I couldn't see because it was cloudy, right? Oh, I forgot to mention, there was a guy, by the way, that I drove with. He drove with me because you could drive with one person. He was in the military. And he was trying to make a little bit of money before he had to go back out. He broke his leg at sales school. He broke his leg while he was at the 2-week sales school. And then he showed up for the summer anyway to sell those books. And they told him that the injury should not stop him. If anything, they were able to control and manipulate this man from experiencing a full broken leg. So he had a cast and he was working 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. with a broken leg, believing that if he quit this thing, people would cry, thinking if I quit, then I'm not good enough. If I quit, then I'm weak. If I quit, then I will fail in life. That's what they do. That's crazy. I'm remembering all this shit. Woo! Lordy, 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 lordy. So that was some crazy stuff. Comments saying, oh, my story. So I crashed. The lady was really nice to me. It was an older lady. My car got totaled. I don't think I got much from it. Just some of the parts could get sold, but they had it. I couldn't take the car back. I went outside the front of one of those A&W restaurants. It was like A&W root beer or whatever, and I sat out front of that joint, and I thought to myself, how am I going to sell these books? I was like, that was the first thought that came to my head was, now how am I going to sell these books? Okay. It wasn't that I almost died. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I don't have a car anymore. It was, fuck. I have so many books that I need to sell today. And my brain was literally wired around the selling of the books. I forgot about life. It literally makes your life the sales. It literally steals your life. It makes you think that the work is your life. This is why when people make fun of people who are in cults, I'm like, look, it's not just stupid people. These are master manipulators who can take a normal person, someone like you, with an impressionable brain, and they can get you. It's true brainwashing. Okay? Was I a little bit more susceptible? I would say yes. I think I was probably a little bit more naive but I was also, I believed in people. I had a good, I believed in the better of people. So I didn't even realize, I wasn't a person who manipulated people either. So I didn't recognize that I was being manipulated or that it could be a possible scenario. I don't manipulate people like that. So it was like, I was the perfect target for it, as opposed to someone else who's like, damn, you're just manipulating all these people to do all this shit for you. Yeah, I'm in. I'll be the manipulator.